Keith Olbermann for sure smokes crack. He's deranged. He's insane. You see his videos. He's usually screaming. He has TDS probably worse than any fucking other celebrity he has. And he thinks that he's making good points and he's like being all animated and shit, but he's not saying anything. He's one of those types of guys. And, as the subject of education, I think there's been a big reformation, not like directly, as in like a big policy changes, though those have happened before. We've seen some of those in recent years. I think just people's perspective due to COVID has changed a lot more than what it had been before because of how the government handled the COVID situation. And people, that's the silver lining of it all. Folks that thought that the public education system was the education system that should exist in the capacity that it has been before have had their minds altered. Keith, however, has a rather archaic, indoctrinated view of homeschooling. So he's responding to someone. This is documented in a tweet on Mother's Day. Keith Olbermann took a dig at a woman who homeschools her children. This is what he said. Imagine, and you're looking at it right here. He says, imagine putting homeschool mom in your bio and not understanding that you've just ruined the lives of 5 innocent children. It's an archaic view, but even some of you guys used to share this. I know some of us don't want to admit that. You knew what it was. You growed up, the indoctrination, the propaganda by way of the state worked. Remember, they would always say that the homeschool children were the weird ones, right? And why would you ever homeschool your children? It costs too much money. It's too ineffective. And your children are going to be weirdos. They're not going to be able to have social interactions. All those were lies. They were all lies. What it was it was actually the government, which is all public education, that's what it is, state indoctrination. And they're basically encouraging you to drop your children off with them and their indoctrinators as opposed to educating them yourselves privately. It's an archaic view, but it's a necessary view. This is why so many of the pundits are against these ideas, even though a lot of them don't send their kids off to public education. That's for fucking sure. They'll speak out of both sides of their mouth. We see this new movement of what they deem as school choice happening, and God forbid that there be people have more, be able to have more flexibility with where their children go to school in some way, and they find that as a complete and utter threat. Why do they find that as a threat? It's because you're not dropping your children off with them. See, how can they continue to indoctrinate the future generations? How can they continue to do that if they don't have access to the minds of your children? This is why it's so important. They're so protective. The academics especially, they're so protective of the public education system. They'll say all these lies to deter you. This is all it is, to deter you from either supporting privatization in the school market or homeschooling and keeping your children away from them. They make it seem like it's the worst thing in the world because they know if they lose that, they lose a lot. So they lose so much. Now he's wrong. He's of course completely incorrect. And she posted as her own. She said, "What an empty life this man lives. This is how we live." And however you see her, it looks like her children right here, as well as the husband going on a walk like normal people do. But the homeschooling people, like they look, it's crazy. The left looks at probably pictures like this and they like get all pissy and irate. Like, normal families being normal families, right? Going on a fucking walk, hanging out. Normal families being normal families makes these guys pissed off. They think something's wrong with this picture fundamentally. Now, leftists such as Keith Olbermann think that the state that is, they have the right to your children, like as in like it's their children. These people should not only be mocked, shamed, and made fun of, but when they go that low to try to disrespect you, to act like you're doing something in the wrong, I think you should amplify it and heighten it up. Meaning that make your efforts to mock and shame them. Obviously, you don't want to be using aggression, but just turn it up just a little bit. They really should feel that we don't give a fuck what you think. Is how they should look at that. You look at our lifestyle as weird, so fucking what? That there's people that will not drop their children off at the indoctrination camp and they will raise them themselves. In the case of being a homeschool mom, meaning she's the one raising the damn children, not someone else, which is admirable, by the way. That I think that we need more of that. And cooperative, if you can't do it like yourself, maybe in the cooperative experience so they learn other stuff. Do all of that if you can. But by all means, you cannot, the old saying is, you can't drop your kids off with Caesar, not expecting them to become Romans. And this is why dipshits like Keith Olbermann and his funny ass eyebrows think that, well, you're the weird one in the event that you decide, I don't know, I'm just not going to give my kids off to the state. You just listened to a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake, which is live throughout the week at 12 p.m. Central on youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. Be sure to check out my website, ericdjuly.com, so you can stay up to date with everything it is that I'm doing. You can also become a member and get access to a bunch of cool perks and exclusive content, which includes a social media hub where you can interact with myself and other members. It even has an app that you can get, which is now live in the Google and Apple stores.